Hi, so thank you all for joining us. My name is Alec MacFarlane. I work for Reuters Breaking Views. Advertising and marketing are changing rapidly thanks to new technology. I've got three impressive CMOs to talk us through some of the more recent developments. We have Leanne from HSBC, Sydney Wang from used car sales platform Uxin in China, and Kartick Narayan from Korean e-commerce company Coupang. So, first of all, just open to you all, like, how is the role of the CMO changing thanks to new technology? And maybe, Cindy, you could begin.
Oh, well, this is a very good question. I was asked the other year as well. So I think nowadays, as I'm working in a technology company, CMO is a little bit of everything, so you can call it chief of multiple projects. And I think first, of course, you still, as being a CMO, you still need to master the art of creative and communication, because that's the fundamental thing you want your customers, the market to understand. And second, of course, you need to make everything grow. So this is like a chief of growth officer, except the budget, right? So like you need to make everything grow except the budget's going down. And third part is, I think in a technology company, as a CMO, you need to understand the product. We need to reflect, what the consumer they really want from the, the insights and analysis, and pass the right information to the product and make our product and technology team to reflect instant, because the market is changing so quickly, and also the competitors evolving a lot. That's why I think being as a marketer, you should be with style, because you decide your company's, the branding image. And secondly, you need to be a really good mathematician to make everything grow. And last one is know your product and know your customers. Yeah.
Kartick, how about in e-commerce?
Yeah, I think Cindy put it very, very well. It's about getting closer to the product. It's about growing the business, thinking holistically. I'll just add one thing to that. Customer lifetime value, the concept of customer lifetime value is very, very important. It's not enough to measure ROAS or ROI of your marketing spend, but really changing the mindset around the true value that a customer drives to the business is how marketing spend needs to be optimized going forward. So that's a big shift that we're making at Coupang. All of our metrics are centered around lifetime value and some sort of a payback model. So that's a shift we've made. And there's also a science now where corporate valuations are moving away from free cash flow generation to customer lifetime value generation, which also I think is an interesting pivot.
Sure. And Leanne, how about in banking? How's the role changing?
Well, I think for a CMO, I think the role of the CMO and of the marketing function generally has always been about fusing the customer insight with definitely with the growth potential and with the growth opportunities that the company has. And I think also importantly, it needs to be within leveraging your distinctive brand assets. And I think one of the things that I think actually brands are even more important now than they ever used to be, because brands are both a promise and also a shortcut. They're a promise for a customer to be able to understand actually what you can do and provide. And also it's a shortcut because in an age of clutter, actually, brands are a much easier way for our customers to kind of navigate the world. So, and I think that, that marketing's been through a bit of a roller coaster, particularly, there's been the kind of shiny, happy period where everything was really easy to understand through kind of like a dark time, and when we've gone through like programmatic issues and brand safety issues. And I think we've settled much more now on a more realistic aspect of marketing generally, in being able to say, right, we need to have data and information, but we also need people who can interpret that and be able to put that insight together in service of what actually our customer needs. I think what has changed, on top of all of that, clearly, is the technology that's enabled us to be able to have those conversations with customers. So instead of like kind of spray and pray, which is what we've been historically been used to, we've now got actually access to data that allows us to be both personal and relevant, but at scale. So we can have the core message with our brand, but we can also then flex it in line with what our customers really want.
Sure. And how are you guys all using AI in your jobs?
Well, AI absolutely has been an enabling technology for banking and for for financial services industry generally, and that's enabled us to do everything. Whether it's obviously being able to be able to personalise and relevant messaging, but also to be able to help manage both the back end as well. And we've got a video that kind of shows where that's taking us to. If we can roll the video now, please.
In an ever-changing world, our use of technology is producing signals which companies use to make everything easier. Freeing up valuable time to do the things that really matter. With you in control. Banking's no different, and here at HSBC, we recognize our customers. And everything they need is at their fingertips. Wherever they are, and whatever they want. By analyzing data and signals, we know what's happening. We understand our customers' goals and priorities. And by delivering personal and relevant experiences every day, we help them fulfill their dreams and realize their ambitions. Together, we thrive.
Great, thank you for that. And Cindy, how about you guys at Uxin?
Actually, AI plays a really important role in the auto tech, and I think two parts. One is, traditionally, you know that used car market is lack of transparency and lack of trust in a lot of markets, and especially in China. So every used car is like a piece of art. They have different conditions and different pricing point. So we actually use the AI technology to empower our pricing system. From the millions of the transactions we have done, then we give very transparent, objective, and a very accurate pricing point. So when the user, they browse all the products, they can get exact, like pretty accurate pricing point to each of the car and the product they want to buy. So this site, we enable ourselves to have better offerings, right? On the other side, the AI helps us to learn from the users, from their browsing behaviors, from like searching behaviors. We know what kind of car models they're looking for and what is pricing range they're looking for. So by doing this, making the online car shopping is very efficient and easy. You don't need to, go outside, go to the market. You can just sit at home and just, finish all the purchasing maybe within 5 minutes. So that's really magic.
Great. Yeah. Kartick?
Yeah, if we were to define AI as a machine making human-like decisions without being pre-programmed, if we use that definition of AI and think about what e-commerce means, e-commerce essentially has three pillars. It has price, convenience, and selection. So at Coupang, we do more than 10,000 price adjustments per day. We have a product selection of over 80 million unique SKUs. So we're using machine learning and AI to not just set our pricing philosophy, but also work through this deterministic logic of whether we want to be price setters or price followers. All of that is done in an automated fashion. On the convenience side of things, our moat in South Korea essentially is last mile delivery and logistics. We're able to deliver a package from click to delivery in 20 hours or less 99% of the time. So that's why customers love us. That's our value proposition. And so if you think about the amount of data processing and intelligent decisions that are required in order to do that across, hundreds of thousands of packages per day, there's a lot of machine learning and AI involved. And lastly, on the selection side, one of the challenges with e-commerce is that it's becoming like a dumping ground for a lot of items. So if I'm a small seller and I want to sell a pair of shoes or a shirt or an iPhone case, the challenge of getting my product visible in front of customers is very, very difficult. Either I pay for advertising or I rely on the site search to be very, very robust. And so on the convenience side, on the selection side, what we're doing is we are using, again, machine learning and AI to get products discovered and surfaced up to customers in a much more relevant fashion. So that plays a big part for Coupang as well.
Great. And can we just talk a little bit about how increasing kind of privacy concerns are affecting your business and particularly perhaps GDPR as well? Perhaps we start with Leanne.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been, obviously, I think there's quite a spectrum in terms of both where governments are and also where customers are in terms of the kind of privacy and the kind of data regulation they might like to see. At HSBC, we've always taken data and privacy very seriously, given a 153-year history of looking after other people's money. So that's core to us. I think the interesting development is sort of seeing that spectrum of different governments and customers' relationships to privacy. So you've got quite some different kind of history. We started talking about China in terms of customers' openness around being able to share their data, whereas obviously in Europe you've got a very different perspective from customers about how much they'd like to share. And I think in our response to that, of course, is that again we're a global organisation. We're deliberately looking for also common platforms. One of the reasons we're excited to be here this week is to be able to interact with other partners, potential partners, to work with us across our 67 countries. So in places like in the UK, we've got a connected money app where we're actually we're saying to people, if you'd like us to be able to help you with your privacy concerns, we can actually help you to do that through this app. And that's one way we're doing that in the UK. It's a very different kind of solution, say, in China, where we're integrating actually our banking straight into WeChat. So it is quite different. And again, it relies on different customers saying, this is the amount of information we're quite happy for you to share. And we can also be able to set those nudges and say, well, if you'd like to have this information, you can share this information with us. Then we can then help you, for example, be able to do a credit card app or be able to have a dining experience. But we also know we don't want to do that in a creepy way, right? You want to there's information there, but it's actually we want the customer to be much more in control of that information for themselves.
Sure. And Sydney, what about your business in China?
Yeah, so the user card transaction is actually a low-frequency business. Of course, we don't have much data as the banking seems to have. But I mean, because in Chinese, Uxin means quality and trust. We always put the trust at the top priority for ourselves and to our customers. So the data protection is super important in my company because, for instance, of course, we follow the local rules and regulations in China, and we cooperate with government. But in our case, I think to best use the data to develop better tools for the customers and to the market is more important. So we don't use the data directly. We use our big data, machine learning, to generate insights from those data. I think that's how we treat really seriously and protect our customers. And I want to, maximize the value of data itself.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Kartick?
Yeah, South Korea is a regulated market. There's very strong privacy rules, and I'll give you a few examples. Even to register an account with Coupang, not to transact, but even to register an account, you need your phone number, and your phone number needs to match your real name. So once you enter your phone number, our system pings the telecom company's API to make sure that there's a real name verification and matching that's done. As a growth team, as a marketing team, we're having to be extremely creative because every single touch point that we have with our customers, whether it's through a push notification or custom audiences on Facebook, we need to have explicit opt-in from customers so that they know what they're signing up for. So the government there has played a heavy hand in regulating some of this. And so, in many ways, South Korea has been a little bit ahead of curve to protecting customers' data. So we're having to be not just creative, but really diligent in making sure that we protect customers' privacy, we protect customers' data. In fact, there's a regulation where if a customer has not visited your application in 12 months, all the data needs to be purged. You don't move it to a separate database. It just needs to be purged. So there's a lot of those things that are specific to the South Korean market. And it's just a compliance rule that we follow. So.
Great. Okay. If we could just kind of talk a little bit about like efficient spending on marketing as well. So, Uxin's quite famous for having Leonardo DiCaprio as the public face of the company, which I'm guessing doesn't come particularly cheap. I mean, like, how do you kind of keep advertising and spending costs under control? And maybe, you know, how do you use technology to do that as well? We'll probably start with Cindy for that.
Yeah, so Leonardo DiCaprio has become our spokesman since starting of this year, and we have heard this has been a very successful campaign. And a lot of people ask me if we spent a lot on him. Well, in fact, not. If you understand the celebrity market value in China, he's actually much cheaper than those local Chinese celebrities, so the young kids. So I think we'll just give a little bit of background because for us, it's a double branding. He is like, everybody knows him. It's super like popular, not only in the tier 1 cities, but also in tier 3, 4, 5 cities in China. So he's super, like he reflects, you know, the trust and quality and all the good merits we're looking for as our spokesman. And secondly, he's a guy devote himself in a lot of environmental friendly like charity programs. So he really understands our values as a pioneer of circular economy. So that's why, you know, we kind of like become partnership. And so in terms of money, so you understand it doesn't really cost us that much. But on the other hand, of course, we try to make our marketing more and more cost efficient by using, adopting more marketing technologies to help us. For example, we need as I said, it's a very low frequency business. Actually, we need to find out the right customers. It's more important than let everybody knows, because even if everybody know our brand, you're not buying a car like in 5 minutes, right? So we cooperate with multiple digital platforms to increase and enhance, the accuracy of target audience programs. So whenever we have a push notifications or we sending those advertisements, we make sure the potential buyers watch our advertisement and those marketing content. So, and of course, we also develop a lot of internal tools help us to dynamically, using different marketing techniques during the different timing of the year. Because for cars, you have peak season and off-peak seasons. So that's why we allocate our marketing budget to be reacting to the customer behavior themselves. So that's how we, manage the marketing.
Yeah, I think fragmentation of audiences is the singular challenge, and the way that we've tackled that is also to acknowledge that customers' journeys aren't linear, right? They're moving through the offline, the online world continuously. Think about your own experience, whether it's coming here today or the kind of products that you bought, products and services you bought today. So I think it's being able to then be able to make sure that you do have both efficient and effective spend across that market, across the offline and the online worlds. And so what we've been doing, as you would have seen even through the video, is be able to then make sure that we are reaching people at those right moments. And of course, technology has been a huge enabler for us to do that, to be able to make sure that we are getting personal relevant at that point, at that particular customer touch point. And so we've been, as we've done that, we've been able to get much better efficiency. So where we've been able to employ, particularly around customer audiences, for example, we've been seeing double-digit and triple-digit reductions in terms of our costs per being able to acquire new customers. So we are interested very much in being able to reach more customers across all the geographies. So that, to me, it's kind of an and to be able to get, rather than necessarily an or, but to be able to make sure that we are getting the right information. And therefore, you see that analytics and that data capability is becoming critically important for us to be able to make sure we've got an efficient spend, but we are still be able to reach as many customers as possible.
Right. And how are you all using social media to improve your business? So, Kartick, are you using Instagram, for example? Are you using any other platforms?
Yeah, we are. So, the philosophy of marketing should be to deliver the right message to the right customer at using the right channel at the right time. Social media plays a part because platforms like Facebook and Instagram make it extremely easy to market at scale. The APIs that they have make it extremely easy to deploy large amounts of marketing dollars and keep it very, very efficient. So for us, Instagram has been a particularly efficient channel for certain categories, not for all categories. Categories where search and discovery, catalog quality is tricky. You know, apparel is a perfect example of that. The way customers shop for used cars or apply for a bank loan or shop for a cell phone case is very, very different than how they shop for apparel. In Instagram, we're seeing that it's a channel that's much more effective in driving sales in that category compared to search or other forms of media. So that's been an incredibly efficient channel for us. One last thing I'll add is it is also a mindset change. The mindset change should be to form marketing teams to be more technical. So the marketing team that I run at Coupang, we're 85 people, but 60 people are product managers and engineers. We're a hands-off-the-wheel system. So, you know, we try to maximize for scale while keeping efficiency as a constraint. So.
Great.
Yeah, well,
okay.
the roles are changing, right? Because you talk about the different marketing roles and how they are changing. I think they're becoming much more fluid. So we're looking for people who are kind of like, you know, curious as well as kind of creative and also who can communicate, because those roles are going to start to are already overlapping. And I think they're going to continue to do so. And that's really, if you think about those roles for the future, I'm really interested in being able to find people who can demonstrate those sorts of capabilities, who are kind of are very comfortable with that ambiguity and be able to sit around with all the technical experts as well at the same time.
Yep.
But it's a different beast in China, isn't it? So how are you guys using social media?
I think if you look at our customer dynamics, like those young generation is taking, you know, is like a rising, and there's so many social and video streaming apps is like. You know, a phenomenon. For example, Kuaishou and Douyin, TikTok in Southeast Asia, they call that. So, like every young kids, they probably averagely spend 2 hours a day on those apps. So you can see that this is such a powerful platform. You can adopt those key influential KOLs, right, to kind of like drive leads. You know, if there's one celebrity saying, "Oh, I'm using this cosmetics," you know, they can sell millions of products within an hour. So this is really important. But I think this type of platform is more applicable to FMCG, to those low entry barrier kind of like categories. If you want to buy a car, you know, we can't sell like millions of cars in an hour in Kuaishou, but they have this kind of like a leadership influence. They can say, "Oh, this is good. You should try it. This is a good lifestyle." So we can still leverage those platforms to continuously educate our customers, because one fits all marketing strategy is gone. So like everybody's, you know, they are personal. Like we need to develop personalized strategy for those different, you know, categories.
Great. Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, and thank you all for coming and listening to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.